Didn't matter how cold it was outside.
Está en el sur, que no, con el clima de frío, en Sevilla no hemos mandado un frío. En la Semana Santa que le suba
There's something in your shoe?
Yeah, it's just like a little rock that went in.
Maybe it's a nice piece of jade. No, pero sí, en Barcelona, pero a 9 kilos.
Yeah, we get to see the waterfalls better now.
There's a young lady there hoping to lure back to Alaska. She got away or I got away. I actually went down there a couple of times. The first time I went down there was the wrong time of the year for me. July, August. The temperature of my last day there on that first trip was 98, heat index 113. It's a bit too much for me. The first time I went to a quote-unquote big city, which was Seattle. I was about 11 years old or so. My mom had to go down for a medical appointment to have a younger sister. She was only 1 or 2 at the time, so I had to go along to watch her. We went to Juneau and then we flew in a 737 down to Seattle. My dad's side of the family is mostly living in Seattle. And one of my uncles came to pick us up. At the SeaTac National Airport, and that was the first time I ever seen an escalator. When I stepped on it, of course, I stepped on the wrong part. I almost fell forward. The only thing that saved me was my uncle's behind me. He grabbed a hold of me, and he told me, grab the rail. So I reached over, I grabbed the rail. Of course, I grabbed the part that's not moving. Hold on, I'm trying to go like this. My uncle started yelling at me, let go of the rail, let go of the rail. My introduction to that.
Look at the thickness of that moss.
That was the first time I ever seen skyscrapers. Here in Hoona, you know, I believe the tallest building back then was only 2 stories. Going from here to there, seeing all these skyscrapers, jaw-dropping. On the here in Hoona, we have probably 750. So I think about it, there's probably more people in one building than more than the whole town. Way back, I just share stories of these folks. One of the stories I like to share. The main one is after I graduated high school here, went up to Seward, headed to vocational school there, studied forestry. I graduated from there, came back and worked for the local Forest Service for 5 years. First summer we're supposed to have a fish dog fly in from Sitka, but due to poor visibility there, he's not able to make it here. Just before lunch, my boss called me in his office. He asked me if I'd have any problems going out to this river by myself to check some instruments out there. Growing up here in Hoona, I used to being out in the woods, so I had no problem going out there by myself. Forest Service usually sends you out in pairs for safety reasons. Yeah, I could do it. It's no good. I got up to go have lunch, and he goes, make sure you take the rifle with you. Forest Service personnel here in Southeast Alaska are trained to use a 375 H&H Magnum weapon. It's a heavy-duty rifle for bear protection. I said, okay. I went and had lunch, came back and grabbed the rifle, the radio, the keys to one of the trucks. I drove out there. Got up to the river, I was switching from my regular shoes to my hip waders. I looked at the rifle and I thought to myself, I haven't seen a bear here in quite a while. So I left the rifle in the truck and started down the river. I got about halfway down to where I was trying to go. You know, the stones in the river are round, smooth, covered with algae, made for dangerous walking. So I was watching right in front of me where I was going to put my foot next. Top of my eye, I saw something coming out of the brush about 20 feet ahead of me. I lifted my head and I looked, and it turned out to be this 1,000-pound French brown bear.
Wow.
He was a big, healthy boy. He stopped. I stopped. We stared at each other for about 30 seconds.
Really close to there.
Then he decided that wasn't a threat, he wasn't fluid, he wasn't all that anxious, and thankfully he began his way down the river again. I gave him a good 5-minute head start, went down, checked the instruments, and rushed back up to the truck. I always say that was the longest 30 seconds of my life.
Wow.
I believe it was the next summer after that. My oldest sister called me up. She said she wanted to go fishing. It was on my day off. And she had this 14-foot aluminum skiff. That's a small little 14-foot open boat. And I said, oh, sounds good to me. So we called up my best friend. We talked him into going with us as well. We waited until the store was open. We bought some goodies, stuff to drink. And they put the boat in, kind of down by Ice Street Point there. Put it in the water there. It had a small little outboard motor on it. We kind of puttered along until we got up by the point that we're kind of, where we saw the eagle at. We're just a little past that. We decided to fish for halibut for a little while, so my friend and my sister were sitting there jigging because they had the rod with the bait, which is the herring, kind of bobbed it up and down at the bottom of the water. Hopefully the halibut was take the herring. And the tide was starting to change, so we're going to try our luck to see if we can catch a salmon or something. They start reeling in the line. All of a sudden my best friend goes, hey, something's on the line. So my sister reeled in her line real fast so that it wouldn't get tangled up with whatever he had. I had the motor, we were starting, we were just starting to move along with it, and I was kind of watching, making sure I was going to get his line tangled across, so I was kind of watching on his side, waiting to see what he was going to bring up. I looked up ahead of us, all of a sudden I could just see this huge mass of bubbles coming to the surface heading towards us. My sister just happened to look at me at that time. She told me later that I had this shock look on my face. I kind of popped out of it, or snapped out of it, and started trying to turn. She looked up in the direction I was looking. She saw what I saw. She started yelling at me, turn, turn, turn. Because I have it all over now. And the boat started to start turning. And a few seconds later, these 8-ton back whales come up to the bubblenut feet. Probably only about 20 feet away from us. So I say, once we're so close that when they went back to the water, just played so much water, we're just kind of sitting there, rocking back and forth. And then when our hearts resumed the normal pace again, my friend finished reeling in the line. And it turned out that the fish that he had was a skate, which is a fish that we really don't eat around here. I always say the best thing we got that day was a story out of it. For 5 years, and in another 5 years, they told me they weren't going to be able to hand me back due to budget cuts in the department I was in. So I applied for some other jobs in different departments and in different districts. I never did hear anything back from them, so I had to go out and find a little odd job in the town. One of the jobs I did find was work at the beauty planter. You can see across the bay there, we have had quite a bit of logging done here on the island. We're in just one unit. The road ran through it. There's a real big area above the road that needs planted. A smaller area below the road. So my boss said, well, first you guys plant this upper part. I can stay down here in the bottom. By the time you guys are done up there, I'll be done down here and we'll have the whole thing done. So that sounds good to me. The rest of the guys went up the hill plant. I was down at the bottom. About halfway through, I heard the guys reach the top. And it's all male crew, they're all kind of talking smack, giving each other drops and all that. And when we reach the top or the end of the unit, we'd say moving over. It means we're just kind of moving over so we can plant our way back down from the back. And then I heard them start yelling, man. All of a sudden they start yelling and screaming kind of louder than usual. Kind of wondering what was going on. A moment later, my boss yelled out, he goes, "Hey, bro, there's a bear in the unit." They're way up the top of the hill, so I didn't see anything of it. They just yelled back, "Okay." Kept on working. Probably about 2 minutes later, I heard the brush rustling by the road with a truck was. I thought to myself, one of the guys chickened out and ran down. That coward. I bent over, put a tree in the ground, packed the straw around it, and I stood back up and I looked. I saw the 700-pound bear come out of the brush onto the road. The bear got on the road. He started walking down the road away from me. I figured, okay, I don't have to worry about him. Kept on working. The bear walked about maybe 100 feet down the road, then he turned into the lower part of the unit, same as me. When he did, he got in this ravine that led away from me. I figured, okay, that'll be the last I'll see of him. Kept on working. About 5 minutes later, I was done. You know, planting trees can be hard on the back, so it's kind of stretch. Looking out of my back, I kind of put my hand on my hip, kind of turned around and looked back like that. Not more than 15 feet away was the bear standing up on his hind legs. That's how quiet it could be. I didn't hear him come up behind me at all. He was just trying to see where everybody was at, and once he did that, felt comfortable then, he just dropped down on all fours and walked away. Thankfully, that was the last time I saw him that day. I'll go ahead and give you guys some facts about the town of Hoonah. In Hoonah, Tlingit means protected from the north wind. We have roughly 750 living in Hoonah year-round. We have a couple of grocery stores, a couple of restaurants. We do have a school, kindergarten through 12th grade. There's about 105 students enrolled this past year, and we had to graduate the class of 5 Thursday. We do try to encourage young folks to go off to college or vocational school. Quite a few will go out and try to further their education. We do have some that will go in the military. Some will just kind of stay here and to find a job or find out what's going on. We have 3 policemen here in town, 1 policewoman. We have a resident dog. 1 state trooper. Volunteer firefighting crew here. I believe there's 13 firefighters. 2 fire engines and a boom truck. This area is known as rain country, so you don't have too many fires here. We also have the ambulance crew. I'm proud to say I'm a member of it. There's 9 EMT. A couple years ago, I became recertified as an EMT in the state of Alaska. And then this past January,